I meant to get this video out yesterday, but this weird thing happens when you get a new game and it kind of takes over your life and you can't read and play games at the same time. At least not yet, but I'm working on it. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, a week or so into August here, and there's lots of things, as usual, to talk about among the world of entertainment and the world of literature. Let's start off what I usually have been doing lately, which is talking about what have I read and what have I been reading. We finished Trader's Blade. We started the read-along for that. In case you don't know, there is a channel read-along going along, and you can read along with us and discuss everything on Discord. We separate everything by like 5 chapter blocks, because this is a pretty quick read, actually. Even people who have said that they were pretty slow readers have already kind of finished through this one. In fact, my wife even joined the reread. She said, you know what, since it's going to be one per month, I'm going to kind of take my time. Yeah, she finished the book in 2 sittings. So it's one of those things that it's just more of a page turner than I expected. And I say that most of the feedback has been about 9 out of 10 definitely have said that they are on board and they're going to keep going. So I'm glad we picked a good one, because I would have been really, really sad if the first book in the series had kind of been and people would kind of start to bail. I mean, there's people now that are saying they don't know if they're going to be able to wait until September to keep going. Me, like I said, I have plenty of stuff to read. But again, the read-along is going very, very well, and I'm really happy about that. And like I said, this is kind of that dry run before Malazan. Now, Malazan will probably have to break those chapters up a little bit more than 5 chapter blocks, because apparently there is a lot to unpack in those. But we'll get to that when we get to it in January. But for now, it's not too late to join that read-along, guys. You can jump on anytime. And like I said, you got the whole month of August to read Trader's Blade. And even the slowest reader is going to be able to get through that book in a week tops. So yeah, if you still want to join, please, plenty of time. I was going to continue my schedule, and I was going to pick up the next Mistborn book, which is The Bands of Mourning, because, I was doing the Mistborn Era 2, 1 per month. We're doing the whole Cosmere thing leading up to Rhythm of War in November. But I said, you know what, I got some free time on my hands here, because I'm kind of keeping my schedule open, which I'll talk about in a second. But you guys know that I'm a very big fan of The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and I said, you know what, I need more of that universe. And thankfully, the sequel series to that is already out and complete. In fact, I'm really going to call it a sequel series, because it takes place about 100 years later. But yeah, here's the thing. I'm only about a third through this book. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys about it. If you finish Faithful and the Fallen and you're kind of worried about this, don't. It's every bit as good. It takes you a little bit to get into some of the new characters, because you're going to keep pining for those characters that you fell in love with when in Faithful and the Fallen. But it wasn't a fluke with Gwyn when it comes to characters. All these new characters that he's got in this, I've already got some affection for them. And if you love the animals like you love the animals in Faithful and Fallen, there's a few that are going to grab you in this one too. So yeah, I didn't actually have this on the schedule, but as you know, as beefy as John Gwynne books are, you can get through them so quick. And I just said, you know what? I miss that world. I want to go back to the Banished Lands, and I picked this up. A couple of other people on the Discord have actually joined me, and they're enjoying it as well. So I'm looking forward to. I don't know if I'm going to continue just going straight through those, because there are other things I want to do in September. I said I was kind of keeping September open because I want to make sure I stay ahead of my Fright Fest plans for October, and also leave my schedule open because there are a couple of advanced reader copies that I'm anticipating getting. Hopefully, one of those is the publisher already told me that they're going to be sending me Battleground by Jim Butcher early. I don't know when. That could be a month and a half early. That could be 5 days early, like it was last time. Don't know. This is all still really new to me, getting advanced reader copies. But you guys know that my friend Patrick from Goodreads is a really, really prominent fantasy and sci-fi reviewer, and he was the one who got me into John Gwynne. And well, he also is a big fan of Joe Abercrombie, like I am. And he tweeted that he has actually already read The Trouble with Peace, and about how great it was. And I was just like, dang it, man, I have been requesting that from the publisher. They have not responded to me. And I'm basically reaching like stalker level with my inquiries about getting my hands on The Trouble with Peace a little early. And Joe Abercrombie himself replied to direct message him, and he will get me one. So it was really surreal. My favorite modern fantasy author is actually talking to me in direct messages today and saying that he he knows that I'm an advocate for the series and he appreciates it, and he's going to send me a book. So that was really very cool. So hopefully that shows up sometime soon. And one more thing about John Gwynn, he is going to be my guest on the channel tomorrow. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do that live or if I'm going to record it and then upload it later. I'm not really sure, but it's happening tomorrow. So I've kind of opened up that forum for people. If you have questions you want me to ask John on the community tab, I have a section there for you to give me some questions you'd like me to ask him, or if you would like to jump on the Discord, like I keep on saying. The link is in the description below if you want to join the Discord. And I got the questions all going there, and of course on the channel Twitter account at Mike's Book Review if you want to jump on there. Because one thing I'm not very good at is interviewing people. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I'm pretty sure after a while it will just be us talking about our favorite season of Vikings and what kind of acts he would use if he was on one of those shows or something like that. So not sure how constructive it'll be, but I'm very excited to pick his brain and check out his writing process and his likes and things like that. But that's pretty much going on. And then after I finish Time of Dread, I'm planning on just continuing on to Mistborn there until I get these advanced reader copies, hopefully. As for on the channel, a couple things this week. We did the July wrap-up. I think that's something that went over pretty well last month. People seem to enjoy it. People who don't watch the channel on a daily basis, things that they might have missed, they can go back and catch them. I wasn't sure that was something that people wanted, but it seems that they do, just based off of the feedback on them. I think it gives people a glimpse on the growth and kind of the operations of the channel. Again, I like to keep you guys included in all this stuff. It's not like a big secret to me how many views I get, how many subscribers I get, things like that. To me, it's really just communicating with you because I feel like this is a group effort. I really do. And I like to keep you guys involved. So that's why I kind of did that. I kind of eased off on the book haul. I'm probably going to do it next week or something like that. Because I don't like the first week of a new month just being like dragged down with like recap stuff. So I like to kind of spread that out. So I plan on doing the book haul maybe sometime next week. Just kind of, move it around. I also talked about Terry Brooks, an author I feel like gets way too much crap from the modern fantasy community, and I don't understand why. I think maybe they get him confused with Terry Goodkind. I don't know. Again, I haven't read much Goodkind, so I can't really go in there. I'm just saying. It seems like it's Terry Pratchett's amazing, Terry Goodkind's terrible, and then you got Terry Brooks somewhere like down here. To me, my whole argument of that was that I feel like he deserves more respect because I think that he made the genre popular again in the late 70s, early 80s. And just proved that people would buy books, that style of fantasy books, if they didn't say the word J.R.R. Tolkien on them, like mass audiences would buy. I know that I get a lot of pushback about, this and this title and this author were really popular in the 70s and 80s. Yes, but wide mass appeal wasn't really happening with the fantasy genre when Shannara hit, and that was my whole argument of the video. It wasn't you should read it. It wasn't this is why it's amazing. It was that I think you should put more respect on Terry Brooks' name, and I stand by that. I think that the man deserves a lot of credit for what he brought to the genre, and especially to wide mass appeal. I also talked about movies. Something I wanted to do on the channel for a bit now was to talk about, some things that weren't necessarily just books, like talk about movies, favorite TV shows, favorite video games, things that I always get asked in my live streams or my Q&A videos. And so I thought a good way to do that is to talk about movies, ease into it here by talking about movies that were based off of books that I really liked. So I think most of the people, I think the Conan was about the only one that kind of got some pushback because it wasn't anything like the book. And I understand that. I admit there was some nostalgia maybe in that because I did see the movie before I read it. So there was that. But I tried to keep it to stuff that was faithful really to the source material. And, it's got some opinions, things like that. And I get that. Some people aren't going to feel the same way about some of those adaptations as you do. Me, I never expect a page-for-page, literal adaptation of anything. So to me, I look at something like the changes made to the Lord of the Rings film trilogy, and I'm like, I'm okay with all these changes. And I'm someone who absolutely loves that book. So it really just depends on you. If you're wanting like a word-for-word thing, maybe some of those movies don't really hit for you. But those are mine. And I felt like most of the people kind of agree with that. And there were some other ones really. And apparently I really, really need to read The Martian. And I really, really need to read LA Confidential. Because that seems to be like the two that really have come up a lot. And movies that I enjoyed. I just haven't read the book, so I couldn't put them on that list. So I definitely think I need to get to those eventually. Another little quick hit that I did was I addressed the issue of the long intros that I do for my reviews, where I'll have music and art, and I will read an excerpt from the book to basically kind of set the tone. That was really not meant as like a clapback or anything like that. Definitely not. I appreciate all criticism on the channel. It is overwhelmingly positive for those things. It's just I got a lot of newer viewers over the last couple of months thanks to those Kindle videos. And I was just explaining to them, this is why I do the long intros. Because a lot of people, they're just like, why is it like 6 minutes before your review starts? You know, I like to do the long intros. I like to do the excerpt reading. I like to tell you about how I discovered the book, why I put off reading. It's just kind of my style. So I was just trying to explain that. It was definitely not meant in a snarky way. And I don't think too many people took it that way. I didn't get a ton of thumbs down for it or anything like that. But yeah, really, it was just a quick hit, just kind of explaining my process of why I do that, and really just my style, explaining why I do my style. I'll never be the 45 jump cuts per minute guy. I'll never be the over-the-top humor or special effects or anything. I'm just here to talk about my love of books, and a big part of that is me telling the story about why I either put off reading the book, why I decided to read it, things like that. Just kind of my review format. So I kind of wanted to give a little explanation for that there. And as for next week on the channel, we'll be heading back to the multiverse again. We'll be walking the beam as I'm going to be talking about The Gunslinger by Stephen King. This is Into the Multiverse number 8. Doing these in publication order by publication date by once released under his own name. So the Bachman stuff is going to come later. So the 8th one in here, not a short story or novella, just novels. The Gunslinger. Something that I really, really love to talk about on the channel is The Dark Tower. So I'm planning to really, really go into this one. This is going to be one of the most fun Into the Multiverses I've done yet. And I feel like those are starting to pick up steam a little bit. The Cujo one got way more views than I'm used to getting for Stephen King material on the channel. So the more constant readers that become constant watchers, I'm all for it. And the people who just want to know about what makes Stephen King so special to me, I'm glad that they're watching those videos because they're non-spoiler. They very much are accessible to people who haven't read this stuff, and you just want to know why I think it's so special. Because as you can see, King is my guy. And that's pretty much it for books this week, guys. There are a couple of entertainment things that I'd like to talk about real quick. First off, in movies, last week I said that the Dune trailer was coming. Apparently, there's some rumors now that it's not coming. I don't really know who to believe at this point. The 12th, it was supposed to be August the 12th with the Inception re-release, but then the studio released like their notes for it, and the word Dune trailer attached have been removed. So I don't really know. I think it's one of those things. One of two things are going to happen. Either it's just going to drop on the internet one day, and it's there for us, or they're preparing us for the, Dune is going to be delayed a full year until Christmas of 2021. That's actually what I think is going to happen. They're delaying all these movies. They're talking about video on demand. I think Christopher Nolan's about to fight people over Tenet not going to video on demand. It's staying to just a theatrical release. And I think that Dune is something that is going to have to be viewed on the big screen. And I don't see this whole situation, the virus that shall not be named, being over by then. So I'm fully expecting Dune to be delayed because the studio has sunk way too much money on this, and they're way too invested to just like have it come out and no one, because people are too scared to go to the movie theaters. So I really think it's going to be delayed a full year, Christmas 2021, and that is why I think we will not be seeing the trailer, because they don't want to give you the trailer and then like the next month tell you, oh yeah, it's delayed a full year. So that's just my opinion. Again, it sucks, but I want to see this in the biggest and loudest theater that I can. So if that's what they have to do, that's what they have to do. I've waited this long for a faithful adaptation of Dune. I can wait another year if need be. One more thing I talk about all the time about the video on demand, how some of these studios are going to have to release some of these movies video on demand while this is going on. And I said it's not really a bad plan because, I mean, look, Trolls 2 made like a ton of money going video on demand. Trolls 2, because people are bored, they're stuck at home, they want new entertainment. Well, apparently Disney is going to open that can of worms, and they're going to be the first one to do it because the live-action adaptation of Mulan is getting released straight to Disney Plus for a fee. Here's where I feel like this is an experiment. This is a test run to see how this works. I believe you have to have the Disney Plus subscription service, and you have to pay $29.99 for the movie, and it's just a rental. You don't keep it. So here's what I think. I think you'll see some success with it. Disney's subscriber count will probably tick up a little bit from people who don't understand. And when there's people who understand that, wait. So I have to pay for your monthly service just to have the right to rent this movie for $30. I don't think it's going to do as well as it should. I think what you'll see after this is you'll see more studios interested when they see the numbers for it, and it'll either stop dead in its tracks, or more likely you'll see more studios releasing their movies on streaming services, but for a fee of some sort. But I think it'll be to own the movie. Like, for example, I keep saying, I think Wonder Woman 84 is eventually going to drop on HBO Max. It will probably be like $19.99, but I think you'll get to keep the movie. It won't just be like a rental. You get to watch it one time and boom, you're done. I think they'll get that price more around $20, $25 than $30, and you'll own it. I think you'll straight own the movie. It won't be a limited time thing, or you get it for 10 days or something like that. If they think that that's something that's going to reduce piracy, they're no, that's not what's going to do. All it's going to do is frustrate people. But I do think it's baby steps that we need for this to happen. You're going to see more movies getting dropped, video on demand, and I'm all for it. Even if I don't really, I'm kind of out on the Disney live action adaptations. I felt like they really dropped the ball with Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Really like Jungle Book, but I think that charm's kind of worn off. And Mulan without the music, I don't know how I feel about that. But a little bit of TV talk here. They dropped the final trailer for The Boys. Season 2 comes out September the 4th. Very excited. I love The Boys. I felt like it was what would happen if the Justice League was real. That's why I loved it so much. Very, very R-rated, obviously. And I talked about it along with Umbrella Academy, which I'll touch on again here in a second, is I feel like what I loved about those two shows is it felt like it was the first time in years that we haven't had the Marvel versus DC shit. They got so tiring. Yes, I love DC Comics probably a little more than I love Marvel Comics, but I've always loved comics. Don't really care who the publisher is. Dark Horse, Vertigo, Image, DC, Marvel. It doesn't matter to me. I just like good comics. But again, there wasn't the established fanboy relationships with those to where I thought that it was just toxic to a point where people were fighting and yelling at each other all the time. And that's why I think I've latched onto The Boys and Umbrella Academy so much. So I'm looking very much forward to that. And again, Umbrella Academy hasn't gotten a season 3 renewal yet by Netflix. So guys, please watch Umbrella Academy so we get more. Because if it stops on a cliffhanger like it does at the end of season 2, yes. So please watch it. Now I want to close this off with a little bit gaming talk. I know the gaming sections have kind of gotten a little longer lately, and that's just because I like games. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. If I'm not reading or watching TV, it's playing games. If I'm not playing games, it's reading and watching TV. Not watching TV, it's because I'm reading and playing games. I always say I can do 2 of 3 of those at one time, and this week I really finally buckled on what I said I wasn't going to buckle on, and I picked up Ghost of Tsushima, and it's very good. I don't really know what else to say. I didn't read very much of Time of Dread yesterday because I was playing this for like 10 hours. Here's the thing. I love the open world sandbox format in a game. Love it to death. So any game that comes out like that, I'm probably going to give a try. What I've had a lot of people ask me is like, is it as amazing as the hype is? What I've said is that it is an absolutely beautiful game. I feel like it pushes the PS4 to the limits. It's the most beautiful game I think that has been released on that system, even over Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War. It definitely looks the most incredible out of all of those games. But I'm just amazed at how much is going on at the screen. You got these leaves falling, this particle effects, you got so many enemies at once, and it never ever slows down. This is coming from a PC gamer. Most PC gamers are usually like, oh yeah, well it's like locked at 30 frames per second. You don't notice anything. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful. I don't think it's reinventing the wheel or anything. Like, the combat is incredible. It's probably the best sword fighting ever. So it's sword fighting that I wanted in Witcher 3. But as far as it being like this revolutionary game, like, no, it's just really good. It's a really, really, really good game, and it probably is better than I've enjoyed with the last couple of Assassin's Creed games, which I really like, and Witcher 3. I feel like it's more Witcher 3 than it is Assassin's Creed because it is just kind of a sandbox more than just a huge open world or anything like that. But it's very good. The storyline is amazing. The music is excellent. The voice acting, here's the thing: is I know a lot of people were upset that the lip syncing doesn't match up with the characters. I am playing it with the Japanese audio with the English subtitles because I felt like that was more immersive. And yeah, it doesn't line up. Just for grins, I changed it over here, and yeah, their lips match up with the English audio. To me, I don't care. I used to love those really, really low budget kung fu films when I was a kid, where they had the English dubs over, and they're like, you know, they weren't matching anything to their lips. You want to fight me? You know, I actually think that kind of adds to the charm a little bit. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's a really great swan song, I think, for the PS4, even if I consider myself mostly a PC gamer now. But yeah, I definitely say pick it up if you haven't yet, if you get the opportunity. It took me a while to track the game down. It is kind of hard to get a physical copy. A lot of people ask, why didn't you just buy it digital? I still like to buy physical media. Hello. I still like to buy physical media. I've kind of come down on it with music because I play most of my music through the Alexa now. So I don't really go out and buy very many CDs anymore unless it's someone like I collect or something like that. But with games, I like to buy physical. I like to buy books physical. It's just a thing. You know, don't really have a reason, but I don't think I really need one. It's just something that I like to do. But something I won't be getting physical on is Steam on PC, since I do a lot of PC gaming. And they just put out Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn was another PS4 game that I really had a great time with. Didn't get too far into the expansion stuff. I did purchase the expansion pack, and then I didn't get that much into it. Now they put out the complete version on PC. Yes, apparently there are some technical problems, which apparently Guerrilla Games is going to send out a patch for. It's supposed to fix it. I haven't done it yet. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not going to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn right now. But after I finish that, I do plan to replay Horizon Zero Dawn, because I had a blast with it the first go around, and I would very much like to see what it's like on PC. And I hope it encourages PlayStation to release some. I understand why they want exclusives. I mean, that gets people to buy your system. But I think that maybe timed exclusives will be better for them, because look how well Death Stranding, a game that didn't even really sell super well, at least not in the States, and on PC I felt like it did pretty good. So I'm hoping that they do more timed exclusives, maybe like a year or something, and then you start putting more stuff on PC, because I'd really like to get out of consoles eventually. I'm sure Nintendo will always kind of stick around, because they'll always honeydick me with Zelda. Zelda is my franchise, and I know that they're never going to put their stuff on PC. They're never going to share software with another first-party software with another developer. So I think that Nintendo will always give me, which is fine. I got kids; they love Nintendo. That's not a big deal. The whole damn house loves Zelda, so we'll always be buying Nintendo. But I'd like to get out of, Xbox has got Game Pass now, and all their stuff is cross-platform, so I don't need to buy the next Xbox and the next PlayStation. I'm sure when the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel comes out, I'll be greatly tempted. So I'm hoping that this opens up the door for them to say, hey, you know what's better than just exclusive sales? Game sales total, because there's a lot of PC gamers who would love to play a lot of those PlayStation exclusives. And guys, that was my week. What are you guys up to? Hit me in the comments. Let me know what you're reading, what you're playing, what you are listening to, what you're watching. No wrong answers, as always, and have yourselves a great weekend.